In the first part of this series, we talked about Iron Mouse's initial allegations against VShojo, such as stealing $500,000 in charity money and all of the fallout that happened right after that. Well, a couple days ago, VShojo themselves responded to everything, and the statement immediately raised a lot of eyebrows. In the response, Gunrun, the owner of the org, claims that he didn't know the money that Iron Mouse was raising was for charity, even admitting to allocating it and spending it as if it was regular company funds. VShojo also said that they're dissolving the brand, which very quickly led to multiple other talents to come out and tell their stories, with there even being a rumor of a very high-ranking former employee being a creep. Welcome to the internet versus VShojo's response. It starts when VShojo themselves makes a tweet addressing the situation, where they say, VShojo has failed, and I've mismanaged the company into the situation you're all witnessing. So today I am sharing the difficult news that VShojo is shutting down, and I take a full responsibility for the decisions that led us to this point. I've been doing everything I can to fundraise and right the ship these past few months, but despite my efforts, we are in a worse position, and those I care about are now paying the price. Over the past few years, we raised around $11 million to pursue a bold, talent-first approach in VTubing, prioritizing creators and community over short-term profits to achieve long-term sustainability. Our funding went directly to our creators through generous splits, debut investments, infrastructure, concerts, events, and staffing, all designed to support them. We also wanted talent to own their IP, which we knew was a unique creator-first approach for an agency. However, despite all our efforts, the business failed to generate the revenue we needed to sustain that model, and eventually, we ran out of money. Additionally, I acknowledge that some of the money spent by the company was raised in connection with talent activity, which I later learned was intended for a charitable initiative. At the time, we were working hard to raise additional investment capital to cover our costs, and I firmly believed, based on the information available to us, that we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. We were unsuccessful in our fundraising efforts. I made the decision to pursue funding, and I own its consequences. I am deeply sorry to all the talents, staff, friends, and community members who believed in our brand. You did not deserve this. Jacksepticeye replies, keeping charity money is some movie villain shit. Iron Mouse says, you broke my heart, my spirit, and my trust. Asmongold replies, so what about the $500,000 for charity money? Is that going to be donated still, or is it something that needs to be investigated? Not to mention all the unpaid talent fees. Shylily replies to VShojo by saying, we would be able to do so and cover all expenses. Brother, you've somehow been bleeding $11 million while maintaining the most successful and biggest VTuber roster in Western Ian history, and figured that all just go away on its own? Oh, to spew bullshit so confidently. What a weird way to say, so basically, I've been sitting ducks while watching the ship sink, and instead of sitting down with the talent and explaining the situation and finding ways to fix the business model, we went about hiring more and bigger talents to rake in more profits to cover our incompetence. Oh, also, I had no idea what the $500K was supposed to be for and never questioned it or checked the books. Oopsie, lol. I feel so freaking terrible for your former talents. Kson replies to the post by saying, why didn't you let us know the moment you realized the situation? Why did I get the information 2 weeks ago, not from the company, but from my homegirls? Why did you lie to the JP branch a week ago that everything was good and taken care of? Zentreya replies to VShojo by saying, I've been trying to figure out what to say. Why did you keep dodging my messages and concerns? When I wanted to do one-on-ones, you kept dodging or you gave me a short corporate answer. Even when I was under immense pressure from the community for answers about the auditions, and I pleaded for a statement by your PR team, you told me it wasn't needed. You made a tiny video instead, looking like you were hurt and upset, saying sorry, instead of meeting me one-on-one for my concerns, and I was left crying and frustrated. But like a fucking dog, I went back and happy to even get something from you, cause oh man, boss actually answered me. You wanted one finally when you knew everything was crashing around you. Then debuting new talents and such even after the community kept asking about it and kept waving it off and letting me take the punches. I smiled. I fucking brushed it off and kept pushing the company because I was hopeful for new talent and bringing new people to help. Instead, I find you were hiring people without input and poaching without even the idea of truly helping them other than financial gain. We didn't even know who you were bringing in. You and the team told us to just take it. You and some people were really ready for me to be thrown under over and over. Even when Emily joined, I begged you to put out a statement regarding auditions before she announced her debut stream. You gave us the middle finger. Me and Emily had to put out a statement because your PR team was unfit for their job. I took it all. Why did we have to say anything at all? Why did I have to keep taking the fucking fucking damage over and over. You were hurting me well before this. You know you have. I've been pushing a company so blindly who didn't even care for me. But I'm an idiot and I kept believing. I was so excited for this. I spent sleepless nights dealing with constant harassment. And you spent money which you didn't even have without even warning us on God knows what. And you knew, don't even lie, you knew that money was for charity and was supposed to be placed to the side to be untouched. Where did $11 million go in less than 3 years even? What happened to all that money? I'm just really tired from all these years of trying to push for something that kept pushing me to the wolves. I was so stupid, but I was so excited. I really trusted you. We all did. Despite everything, I don't wish you any ill will. I just hope you find some way to make this right. Kenya replies to VShojo by saying, I had a wonderful time while I was in there. So because of that, it hurts my heart a lot. My community and my friends don't deserve this. I don't expect you to do anything at this point. Just please don't do this ever again to anyone. Lucy replies to VShojo by saying, you didn't know how 500,000 suddenly got added to the bank account? You're not aware of the huge fundraising campaigns your own talents do? Even when it's a charity event that breaks records and has the entire community talking about it? Jesus Christ. Shoto replies to VShojo by saying, this and the situation with Copium merch is the exact reason why so many creators are afraid to put their trust in these companies. Just letting your funds deplete farther and farther while not being transparent and truthful with your talents, while pretending all is fine, is the fastest way to lose any sort of good faith with everyone in the community. It's disappointing and upsetting that your poor leadership led to VShojo failing as much as it did. None of my friends deserved this slap in the face from people that wanted to put their heart and trust into it. Fuck you. And Emily responds, this is exactly what Copium merch did to me, and you promised it wouldn't happen to me again. I'm so beyond disappointed and frustrated, I don't even know what to feel anymore. Bitterly says in our members only Discord, I hope lawyers are able to hold VShojo accountable. So scummy. And Captain Crashout also says in our members only Discord, this whole situation reminds me of a creator merch company scam CoffeeZilla covered a few years ago. Would be great if Coffee did an investigation on the situation. I have no interest in VTubers in general, but it's still heartbreaking to see a creator with an immune deficiency do so much to raise money towards a charity for her own illness and find out that none of it went towards it. Wild Hearts quote tweets VShojo and says, I fixed it, making the statement say, I take it a money. Justin, Gunrun. Falno quote tweets VShojo and says, so he attended the IDF charity event in person, brought Mousy around the event, and then proceeded to say he didn't know it was intended for the charity event? Why you lying? Awful, awful person. You are not sorry at all. And Wolfcat replies, I don't think this one was the one that he stole from. These charity events are typically through Tiltify. The subathon money was through Twitch subs, which is why VShojo staff had access to it. He's definitely lying about not knowing, but this isn't the same event. Actually, Tina quote tweets VShojo and says, oh, a lawyer did not review this. Hunk quote tweets VShojo and says, later learned was intended for a charitable narrative. Lol. Another corporate non-apology. Even the line about generous splits and wanting talent to own their IP just screams, you should be thanking me. And he attaches screenshots of Gunrun's reposts, showing him reposting Iron Mouse and the Cyclethon with over $1 million raised back in April, along with another retweet of the Tiltify congratulating CDawg for the $1 million raised, and Gunrun retweeting it. And he continues his thread, here's a screenshot of the event Iron Mouse specifically mentioned. If you scroll through his profile, he highlights every charity event because it's his job to know. Attaching a post from Christian Matos which says, Mouse Subathon 2024. He was there celebrating the all-time record. She announced from the beginning that 50% of the money earned would be given to the charity, the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And this is Gunrun in the replies saying, you did it, Mouse, back in September 2024. Ludwig quote tweets VShojo and says, basically y'all had $11 million in investor money you burned through, then proceeded to use the money you owed talent and the $500K you owed to charity as a runway while searching for a new investor to dupe. You would be a great esports owner. Rima Evanstar quotes VShojo and says, the statement basically says they ran out of money because they supported their talents too much. You talk about raising $11 million to pursue a bold talent-first approach in VTubing, but your talents were missing money from sponsors even a year prior to the funding even happening. Then for you to have the nerve to come out and repeat creator first over and over is crazy. From everything we've heard from the talents who worked there, it seems like they were your last priority. Took them 4 days to come up with this crap? Seriously? Kane quote tweets VShojo and says, I'm a corporate accountant IRL. You do not misspend $11 million and you do not mistake charitable/talent earned gains as company funds. This is textbook embezzlement. He should be in cuffs. Iris Collador quote tweets VShojo and says, don't fucking lie, the Gunrun. Your splits were in no way generous. Shylily and Tectone have all but spilled the entire fucking kettle, and your ass is cooked. Rest in peace, you will not be missed. And they attach a screenshot of a summary of a conversation that Shylily had on stream, where it starts by saying, Shylily, now talking about the alleged, just her word as of now, but she says she has receipts, attempt to hire her and her issues with the contract. Here's what she says. They approached her in summer 2023. VShojo lectured her a 2-hour-long PowerPoint presentation on how incredible VShojo is, how they're so good at project, merch distribution, sponsorship, IRL streams, PR, management, commissioning, collabs, voice acting, dance lessons, mental health therapy, YouTuber editors, VTuber anime, podcasts, D&D streams, 3D studios, etc. None of these were actually presented in the contract. When Shylily asked VShojo to put any of the things they promised during this 2-hour presentation into the contract, VShojo refused, saying, "We operate on trust and no need to put it in paper." VShojo offered Shylily a fixed amount, so small it's insulting, a year, for a 50-50 split on Shylily's revenue. VShojo wanted 5% on any deals Shylily makes without VShojo, even mythic deals. Shylily wants it to be at 0%. VShojo says, "We operate on trust. Just put it as 5% now and we will change it to 0% later. Trust." This included the already existing GamerSub sponsorship that has nothing to do with VShojo. Shylily asked VShojo to sign a non-compete against Mythic to prevent a situation where Mythic secured Shylily a sponsorship deal only for VShojo to go to the sponsor directly and cut out Mythic. VShojo refused, saying, "We operate on trust. No need to put it on paper." Shylily accused VShojo's lawyer of being high as fuck during contract negotiation. She constantly zoned out and had no idea what clause they were talking about. When she actually spoke, it's usually just, "It's industry standard, kid. You're asking too much." VShojo wanted ownership of anything Shylily makes forever. Shylily asked to specify it only when she's a part of VShojo, not before or after. VShojo said yes on Discord, but sneakily reverted it to the first iteration on the actual contract. Shylily wanted a clause where they can't take down her tweet. Didn't say how the negotiation goes for this one. It's a 2 years contract with no contract termination clause. Shylily wanted the things VShojo promises to provide her as VShojo's contract obligation and hence her exit clause if VShojo cannot fulfill them. VShojo once again pulled out the "We operate on trust, no need to put it on paper." The contract sometimes referenced sections/clauses that did not exist. Shylily wanted payment deadlines. Once again, "We operate on trust, no need to put it on paper." Shylily wanted the payment to go to her bank account first, then her accountant she hired would allocate the money VShojo is entitled to. VShojo wanted her revenue to go into their bank account first, take their cut, and send the remaining money to Shylily. "We operate on trust. You can trust us with your money." Legal Mindset quotes VShojo by saying, "TLDR, they failed to secure a loan on their unprofitable business and embezzled $500,000. The only reason the VShojo CEO included the later learned language is to try to keep himself out of criminal hot water." Blitz Ace also puts the post on r/VShojo titled "The Response," and corresponding failure replies, "The end," and OP replies, "It's been an honor performing with you gentlemen." Snuka Style says, "For the longest time, I'd wondered exactly how VShojo was funded, what kind of cuts from what sources were financing them. From what some of the now former VShojo members have said about not seeing money for merch, I was wondering if that's what the company was relying on, but maybe splitting profits with the talents. It's too bad everything got messed up so badly." And Larevi replies, "There's the whole VShojo is giving too good of a deal to the talents angle, which doesn't really add up to me. For one, there's multiple accounts of the VShojo contract not actually being all that generous. There's a Shylily clip of her basically saying she really wanted to join just to be a part of VShojo, but they asked for way too much money to make any sort of financial sense. And then VShojo wasn't even paying half the talents anyway apparently, so they had all the revenue from these talents to themselves. So where the hell did all that money go? Seems like a ridiculous amount of overspending rather than not enough money in." And Kichunian replies, "It sounds to me like the earlier talents got much better contracts. Kuro said the contract was amazing in his opinion, but obviously it didn't live up to expectations when money stopped flowing. My guess is the contracts given to earlier talent was too good and they were afraid to ask for renegotiations and decided that the new talents they were looking at recruiting would be extremely ripped off. I don't doubt for a second they were all on different contracts, and it seems they highly discouraged the talent discussing their contracts." Aerodrogfia replies to VShojo's post by saying, "Sounds like what I expected. Though, gun run. I wouldn't admit to misappropriating the charity money. That's a crime, dude." And Nexus replies, "Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake." Lamy says, "I later learned." "Ha, okay, sure, I believe you." And Fit Avocado replies, "Right? I didn't even know the biggest subathon in Twitch history at the time that went on for 39 days was a charity event. Bullshit. I don't even watch Mouse and I knew it was a charity event." MowtenDoo, a former VShojo employee, tweets out, "Nah bro, what the absolute fuck," at the gun run. And Community Notes attaches a tweet from Vebe, which we'll read here in a moment, saying, "This user was also included in many of VShojo's management issues and has been called out for harassing talents." Legal Mindset also quote tweets MowtenDoo and says, "Leaving the company 2 months ago does not absolve a former officer of potential liability for past actions. And just for context, no need to read this, it's not super relevant, but this is the post that MowtenDoo put out announcing that they were leaving VShojo a couple months back, essentially just saying thanks for the memories. Tectone then quote tweets VShojo saying, NDAs are about to be dissolved, VShojo is over, pandemonium is about to break loose. And then the post that was referenced earlier in the community notes gets dropped when Vague quote tweets VShojo and says, and so our NDAs are now void. Why I left VShojo. Back in 2023, VShojo tried to bully me into one of the most predatory contracts that I have ever seen. When I tried to ask more about it, their COO got extremely hostile with me and refused to answer any of my questions, and so I had to hire a lawyer in order to get some clarification. During the talks, it became clear that VShojo would rather let me go than to take less away from me. They were ultimately wanting me to give up more than half of all of my sponsor revenue and over 60% of all of my merge sales. All I asked from them in return is to not take a cut of the sponsors that I was getting through Mythic, as that cut was already being taken. They said no, they want it all. So I asked to leave after being treated like I was disposable in our talks. They basically made it seem like they were my employer, and that they're the reason for my success, that I owe them and that I should be happy to be giving them my money. In order for me to leave, they demanded I signed an NDA that prevented me from speaking to any of the other talent about it. I could not say why I was leaving. I could not say what the terms that I was saying no to were. I even got in trouble for advising them to hire their own attorneys. They would watch my streams, read my Discord, and then threaten to sue me. If I said anything that hinted towards how I really felt about the company, I was threatened with a lawsuit. Another one of their leave terms was that they will announce both me and Silver on the same day in order to minimize the damage to their company. Their COO has begun to push a narrative on 4chan, yes I'm serious, and other social media that I'm leaving because I plan to join OTK and that both me and Silvervale are troublemakers, so they were letting us go. Later I found out that Nyanners wanted to leave around the same time due to also being unhappy with the contract, but was told she couldn't because it did not fit their narrative that they were pushing internally and externally. The amount of hate we've gotten over leaving, from fans calling us greedy bitches to people saying we're abandoning our friends and tossing aside the company because we're successful enough, shit was fucking painful. Not being able to say anything sucked. I only found out I didn't get paid for any of my sponsors after I had already signed the NDA. After 2 years, I have still not been paid back fully. To add insult to injury, they also demanded I had to pay them back $10K for some of the anniversary assets, which when they sent me back months later, were half finished. Despite all of that, I've had immense faith that the company has gotten better over the past 2 years. I assumed they rewrote their contracts after losing 3 people due to them and seeing all the new talent join. Clearly, this was not the case. Now for some fun facts. Their company lawyer has an expired law license. He literally does not practice law anymore, yet he was our point of contact for any legal help we needed. They actively pitted us against one another during my time there and compared our success to others. They tried enforcing a streaming schedule so that our view count would look better due to less overlap. They would always shit talk other VTuber agencies. They literally would spend company money to get a tiny dig at them, especially Hololive. It literally lived rent-free in Gunrun's head. They were convinced Hololive was over when they signed Kayson and Nazuna. Our previous talent manager got ghosted for 6 months by Gunrun, told not to do any work for us, and then got fired for not doing anything. During this fiasco, we weren't able to get any assistance. MTD got reprimanded for being creepy to us. Lol. Got told not to message us privately. Go figure. And MTD is MowtenDoo, as mentioned earlier. I have proof from other streamers attending their IRL parties that MTD would actively shit talk me after I left the company, to paint me in the worst light imaginable. Don't know why you're acting innocent on Twitter, pretending you weren't aware of anything. Can't wait to see all the shit that comes out about you because there's loads, but those aren't my stories to tell. Thanks for reading and thanks to those who stuck around between then and now. Thank you for giving me, Silver, and Nyan the benefit of the doubt when we needed it most. Tectone quote tweets a section about MTD and says, "These are not predictions, they are spoilers. NDAs are dissolving. Good on Vey for speaking out. Support all members of VShojo. Do not pressure anyone to talk, wait till they are ready." Nyanners then replies to Vey by saying, "MTD had the audacity to talk shit about you to my face at a party the year that we all left, and painted you as some kind of conniving, greedy, mean girl who was in my ear and manipulated me into leaving VSJ just because you wanted me to join O2K because her boyfriend Soda is part of that org, or for personal gain or some shit. He got uncomfortably close and up in my face and was like, come on, I know the real reason you left. I know it was because of Vey. She talked you into it, etc. And it was infuriating. I know he spread that same shit to other staff, talent, and other industry people. Seeing one of my closest friends get dragged through the mud like this for years was awful. You did absolutely nothing wrong flung and had so much shit flung at you just because they wanted to push a narrative to protect the company. For him to act like he's completely blameless is insulting. He is a creepy motherfucker, and there's a lot more obviously, but a lot of it is also not my story to tell. Yeet tweets out this clip with the caption, Tectone hints that VShojo's former chief marketing operator is not off the hook even though he left the company 2 months ago.
League of Minds says that the former CMO MowtenDoo of VShojo is still potentially liable. Uh-oh! Uh-oh! Ooh! Ooh! MowtenDoo! Just wait till they find out what you did. Just wait till they find out what you did, man. Yep. Weird as fuck. Weird as fuck. You are not safe, brother. You are not safe, brother. Uh-oh. Anyways, leaving the company 2 months ago does not absolve a former officer of potential liability for past actions. Yes, sir. Yep. Just wait, brother. Just wait.
Also, this old post from 2018 resurfaced and got a lot of traction where MowtenDoo posted ChrisChan and himself with the caption Magfest status legendary, and ChrisChan is wearing the medallion. Akumamiko replies, the medallion claims another. Lynn tweets out, hi, I left in January for Blue Sky and I'm not coming back, but this is about VShojo and MowtenDoo specifically. I considered him my friend for years before he co-founded VShojo and also worked for VShojo as a merch/asset artist for most of their existence. I'm fucking disgusted. This is how he felt about himself. These are DMs from before VShojo. In hindsight, I feel like a dumbass. And it's MowtenDoo saying, yeah, that's why I don't make tons of videos, you know? It hurts me as a person too because I know the game so well. I can get so big and make so much money. I have more followers than people who worked in Disney movies, traditionally and all that, and probably have hit 500 times more people than I ever have. I want to force a meme as a joke or something and get clout artists to do it. If someone pisses me off, I'll do some Metal Gear Solid ass trickery and get 10 people they follow to all make fake fan art of the Juice Monster or something to see if we can bait them. Sorry, I'm horrible. I do not have an ego about my follow size and all that, and I don't care about it. Nyanners then also put out a video about their experience with VShojo, and over on our virtual YouTubers, Katrack64 summarizes the whole thing with a post Nyan experience with VShojo, saying, the main VShojo revelations were, she is owed enough money to buy a brand new Mercedes-Benz S-Class. Shortly after signing on, she was swatted during a sponsored stream, baking during Cookie Run Kingdom. She finds this humorous looking back, and per police advice, she continued the stream and played it off like nothing had happened, so as not to let the person responsible know they had been successful. Her attitude was, I'm traumatized, but at least I'll be paid. She was never given the money owed for this stream. She repeatedly asked for her money only to be told they didn't have her banking information, despite having only recently deposited money. She, Silver, and Vey were all considered discredited by staff to the talents upon leaving, painted as bitchy, ungrateful, greedy, and in particular troublemakers. It sounds like the remaining talents were basically advised to stop associating with them. Talents would be manipulated for the purpose of turning them against each other so as to help take the blame off the company when it made a bad decision. Nyan in particular was portrayed as bitchy, manipulative, and a betrayer for leaving VShojo after having done a VShojo staff karaoke stream. Yes, for real. I guess they thought this bonded them together for life. Prior to leaving, she was told people would be harassed if she left, and that the company and other talents were depending on her. Repeatedly tried to get her to delay her departure to minimize damage to the company's reputation. She made more money in her first few months post VShojo than she did during her entire time with VShojo. Anything is more than nothing. They purposely announced the Silver and Vey's departure at the same time so as to avoid it looking like people were abandoning ship. Vey was also introduced with legal action if she told anyone she was leaving VShojo. VShojo strongly discouraged talents from seeking legal representation during contract negotiations. They deeply resented Nyan for getting a lawyer to look over her contract upon leaving, and badmouthed her to the remaining talent for this. The lawyer Nyan hired spent most of her time gasping and sighing while reading out her contract. She and Aethel, he was accused of convincing her to leave, received a great deal of hate after her departure from VShojo, which broke her mentally. The distress this caused was amplified by not being able to speak out and shut down false information due to a combination of the NDA, not wanting to draw more attention to it, and not wanting to cause trouble for the remaining talents. They then continue their post. She basically let out 2 years worth of anger and frustrations. After listening to what she revealed, all I can say is, the why this is happening is horrible, but the fact that it is happening is wonderful. It couldn't have happened to a more deserving company. Silvervale also streamed and responded to the whole situation, and Rima Evanstar gives us a quick summary of the stream, saying, Jesus Christ, we had no idea how bad it was. During the Hogwarts Legacy controversy, Silvervale had a call with Gunrun, someone she admired. She says she was told that she was a disappointment, harmful to the brand, and that her harassment was an inconvenience to other talents. She was told not to speak to them and was suspended suspended for streaming. When they left, they were discredited to staff and painted as greedy for asking for more money. Nyanners backed this up on stream previously. So many horrible things just to avoid the truth that they were stealing from us. VShojo announced Silver and Vei's departure together to make it seem like a joint decision and blocked Nyanners from leaving at the same time. They held her hostage. Silver later found out she was slandered to artists, companies, and business partners she had worked with through VShojo. Her first VShojo contract had a no exit clause. Quote, "I made more money in the first few months of Mythic than my entire time at VShojo," end quote. Quote, "The threat of them suing me was very real and it haunted me for a very long time. Even before it was announced that I was leaving, I had just mentioned in my Discord just like casually that I was stressed and needed to cancel the stream, and they contacted my lawyer because of that, and they threatened to sue me if I hinted that I was leaving or unhappy at all, just because I said I was stressed. So imagine if I said anything else. They were watching us like a hawk. I think they were watching all of us," end quote. On IP writes, quote, "Of course we keep our IPs. We started with them. I am still timestamping and summarizing her stream. We'll post my notes later. Support Silvervale. She has been through so much." And then over on Livestream Fail, Aquis9090 posted this clip with the caption, "Silvervale describes her treatment by Gunrun and VShojo."
I was put into a call with Gun, the CEO of the company, like someone that I admired and I looked up to and I wanted to please, someone that I thought was the coolest person ever. And he told me that I was a damage to the brand, that I was a disappointment. I was told that me being harassed was an inconvenience to the other talents and not to talk to them. Optics were more important than their own talent's well-being. And I was suspended from streaming. They said it wasn't a suspension because they weren't that kind of agency, but what else do you call being told not to stream?
Tectone tweets out, "The harassment campaign Silvervale got was 1000% not deserved. Silver is one of the kindest, most considerate VTubers in the space. Fuck VShojo for telling her she was a burden." Then the last remaining member of VShojo, Fruit, tweets out, "I've left VShojo. As a day one talent, it's truly heartbreaking that it has come to this. I had the opportunity to achieve so much in the last 4 to 5 years. I'm really anxious about becoming indie, but I'm going to continue doing what I set out to do and make fun things. The people, whether talent or staff, were the best part about the company. I had the pleasure of meeting so many inspiring individuals. I hope we can cheer them all along together moving forward." Stream Database tweets out that Gunrun has been removed as a global emote on Twitch. And Stunlocked replies, "Literally nobody used that emote." Rima Evanstar posts, "Panora Virtual Reality Japan has stated VShojo also owes money to them. Yep, VShojo owes money to a Japanese news outlet. Is there anyone VShojo doesn't owe money to at this point?" Attaching a section from an article that Panora put out, saying, "Note that our company, Panora Pro, is also a party to this matter, as we have outstanding payments from VShojo." Camila also tweets out, "In light of the recent situation, I'm releasing something tomorrow." And then they make this post saying, "I want to start by saying that the severity of my experience isn't the same as what others went through with Gunrun. I just wanted to share this tidbit because it affected a lot of my friends, including me. In 2022, I applied for VShojo. I applied under my past life. VShojo at the time prefaced that they were looking specifically for smaller streamers. I thought I'd give it a chance because I was very small at the time. I auditioned, I passed. I received an email saying that I will be moving on to the next stage, as well as some of my friends. I and others were so excited to have even passed the initial round. That alone was something to be proud of. We filled out the next part. This mainly contained more technical questions. What's your schedule like? Are you good with handling technical difficulties? What kind of streaming equipment do you own, etc. Submitted that and, well, got another email back. I made it to round 3. I was so happy. I know I wasn't fully accepted yet, but it was still a nice feeling. So I waited. I waited a few days for the next step. A few days turned into weeks. A few weeks turned into a few months. Nothing. I would frantically check my email almost every single day waiting for something. Eventually, I let it go. They moved on without a word. I was sad, sure, but more confused by the sudden disappearance. A year later, I started growing as a streamer. I met so many other VTubers and learned a lot by being around them. One day, I was chatting with a bigger VTuber and eventually the topic of VShojo came up. They told me they auditioned at the same time I did. She made it to the final round, but they rejected her and the finalists last minute to hire someone they already knew. And these VTubers were given hush money not to tell anyone about it. The girls were devastated, just like the rest of us who got dropped without warning. So, yeah, thank you for wasting everyone's time, I guess. Oh, One more thing before I forget, you have no idea how many times your talents came to me in tears, suffering due to your neglect and the way you constantly mistreated them. They weren't getting paid, they weren't getting responses from you for over 6 months, and other heart-shattering moments I can't share yet. So this is the treatment you give to those who contributed to your success. No one as sweet and hardworking as them should have been treated like that and is stolen from. And with that being said, I dedicate this to you. And they attach a link to a song that they made called Dear Gun Run, singing Your Power by Billie Eilish. But just as an update to the whole situation, as of right now, Iron Mouse's Tiltify has over $1.3 million raised for the Immune Deficiency Foundation. And on Livestream Fail, Kinda Cringe My Man posted this clip of Iron Mouse talking about it with the title, Iron Mouse raises $1.1 million for the IDF after only 48 hours and breaks Hype Train record.
This has been such... I'm so happy that our community is able to basically take a horrible event and turn it into something so positive, full of love, and so full of just good vibes, happiness, love, support. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you. You don't have to do you don't have to do anything, but I'm just so grateful that you guys are here. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Bitterly posts on our members-only Discord, what has happened the past few months at VShojo for them to not be paying their creators and charities? I'm so glad that the Immune Deficiency Foundation ended up getting so much support on the Tiltify. That's probably the only good thing to come out of this. That's more of a charity debt than Creator Clash 2. Yeats tweets out, The Hill mistakenly attributed a Sea-Dog tweet as pro-IDF when it was actually referring to the IDF, Immune Deficiency Foundation.
What the fuck, dude? Totally different. Yes, it does. It unfortunately has an acronym. There's IDF, and I guess that maybe they thought, because, you know, but look, totally different. I am not. This guy is a piece of shit. I'm talking about something else. Do you not have a single journalist who is doing their job correctly? What is this? Why am I in this? This is insane. What the fuck?
And Comrade replies, I'll be honest, I was really waiting for some dumbfuck journo or some V-tweeter to make this exact mistake. Shout out to our tier 3 members, internet representatives Kiko, Salsal, Coldest Bandito, and Captain Crashout. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I'll see you all in the next episode.